Hello students, 15-minute limit caught me again. I think it's probably a good thing is 15 minutes of me at a time is probably plenty, but I have just one final example. So we were talking about these examples of poorly constructed gas because they are distorting the truth, and all of these are examples of that. You really should use different shapes to describe the same thing because they just tend to distort what's going on. So to finish off this chapter, this will be a short video. I just wanted to show you one little case study that's described in your textbook. And so this textbook was asking the question, are private four-year schools better than public four-year schools? Obviously there's a lot of ways in which you could make those comparisons. Okay, so better could mean different things. You could measure it in terms of outcomes, right? Some kind of test like the SATs and so on. But in this particular case, they said, let's look at the student-to-teacher ratio. You would assume that if you have a lower student-to-teacher ratio, then the students would be getting more attention, assuming the teacher is good, and that would be of benefit. The quality of the teacher is another thing that you could measure if you had the ability to do it. So in this particular case, we have a single academic year, 2010-2011, and they looked at 89 private colleges and 49 public colleges. And what is plotted here are the histograms of the student-to-teacher ratios for those 89 private colleges and the 49 public colleges. So what do you say here? You know, one of the good things about this comparison is that the graph on both the left and the right hand side have been constructed using the same scale, so they're directly comparable to one another. Even better, there is a way to stack these on top of one another so you can compare them even more directly, but we put them side by side here. But what you can see is there's not a huge difference, right, in the left hand side. One thing you can look at is look at the mode in the private colleges, and you see that somewhere between 15 and 20, the bar that represents 15 to 20 is the peak, whereas over on the right hand side with the public colleges, you see that the mode is 20 to 25. So maybe on average there are more, maybe, you know, if you look at a typical value, it's slightly higher in the public colleges than it is in the private colleges. But it's not a dramatic sort of thing where you see a huge difference. Even, you know, there was one private and one public college where the numbers, the signal-to-noise ratios, not signal-to-noise ratios, the teacher-to-student ratios were 60, student-to-teacher 60 to 1 or close to it, 55 to 60, somewhere in that range. So we can start to look at that, but it's not definitive, is kind of how I would summarize this when it asks, can you answer the question of interest? We would probably need a more sophisticated statistical tool to really evaluate whether that difference is real. Stay tuned. That's exactly what we will be covering when we get to, I believe it's chapter 6, where we will be discussing, or maybe at 7, where we will be discussing two means and comparing those statistically. So this is a lead-in to something we'll be talking about later in the course, but right now we're just doing it visually, which is a very good start. So that's the end of our Chapter 2 discussion. I promise this will be a short video, and we'll stop right there.